What's up, Reds? Welcome to the Nothing But Reds agenda here on Anfield Agenda. I am your host, Kyle. With me, as always, is Steve. Good morning, Steve. How you doing? Good morning to everyone in the chat as well. What's going on, man?
What up?
Chilling,
Long time no see, Kyle.
No, it's been a whole 45 minutes, bro.
Oh, if that.
If that. We ended a little bit later. Yeah. But good morning to everyone. Good afternoon as well from everyone across the pond. Today we're going to be getting into a lot of the news surrounding the center back stuff, right? We had Upamecano links come out. Apparently Leipzig's CEO dropped some quotes that are a little like, oh, maybe we could sign this guy. We got some reports coming out of LFC transfer room in regards to previous bids. We also have some stuff regarding David Alaba's wage demands amongst the links to Liverpool. So we'll get into all that stuff. And then we'll talk a little bit about Aston Villa, as well as looking forward to Man United. So, Steve, first off, briefly touch on the Aston Villa thing. The Aston Villa match. Tale of two halves. Everyone in here probably watched it. First half, little bit scary, I think. Scary is the right word. We put out a super strong team against their U18 side, and then next thing you know, it's 1-1 going into the half. Klopp's freaking out. Every fan's freaking out. And then second half comes out. Thiago comes on the field, puts in a world-class performance. What are you thinking after it?
I don't think we need to dig too deep into that game or analyze that game. 4-1, home and hosed. See you later. First half could have been better.
I agree.
One goal. They had 1 5-second glimpse of a legitimate competitor, and I don't think we have too much to worry about.
100%.
Well, that's not true. That's not true. What I meant was we don't need to look too deep into that game, into that first half.
You're saying don't overanalyze it. I see what you're saying.
It wasn't even a real game.
Well, I mean, it's the FA Cup match, right?
It matters. It wasn't real opponents, let's put it that way.
Yeah. Aston Villa were forced to play their U18s basically because of the COVID outbreak within the squad. We don't have to look too much into it. 4-1 win is what it ended up as. I'm sure it had a lot of fans sketched out. But guys, that kind of brings us into our next topic, right? The center back situation. Steve, everyone's been very vocal about the fact that we need to sign someone. We do. And there's links coming out. Leipzig's CEO, I'll pull this up now, has been gone on the record commenting about Upamecano and the likelihood of him leaving the club amongst all these links, right? So I'll pull up the quote now. And essentially, CEO Oliver Mintzlaff, right, says that we will sell top performers again if it makes financial sense and we can absorb it from a sporting point of view. I.e., if they're able to get top dollar or proper dollar for this guy, Upamecano, as well as it fits them, I guess, their success, right? It doesn't affect them footballing wise, right? Steve, briefly, what do you think of Upamecano? You think Liverpool are going after him in this transfer window?
No. Well, you said really quickly.
Yeah, but I also said, what do you think?
He's too expensive.
He's too expensive.
And to be honest, it's almost to the point where he deserves to be a first team player. And I can't sit here and say that he's better than Gomez. I can't sit here and say that he's better than Matip when they're fit, when they're in form. Right. I can't say otherwise, but I certainly don't know if he automatically becomes our number 2.
No.
For 50 million. What's his value? I remember it being 50 million.
Yeah, Transfermarkt has him at around 66 million pounds is his current value. He's 22 years old, which puts him at a prime age in terms of value. 6'1". I mean, honestly, we've been linked with him, but he's also been linked with Bayern. I mean, he's coming up. Man United as well. I mean, a lot of top clubs want him. And I think there are other clubs in more of a financial position to sign him personally. Yeah. And then additionally,
I mean, if we bring him in, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I would be absolutely ecstatic. I can't think of a player that out there that we've been linked with that's as good as him.
Yeah, I agree. And real quick, I just want to touch on this. We got a lot of new people in the chat saying, who are these American dudes, right? Don't blame you. Coming into Anfield Agenda, looking at these two American guys talking football, can't blame you. My name's Kyle. This is Steve. We're Nothing But Reds. Check out our channel. There is a link in the description as well. We do a once weekly show over here on Anfield Agenda, and it's basically just a talk show, and we're just chatting Reds, man. We got a lot of transfer stuff. It's the transfer window. It's fun to follow. So Let's keep
Yeah,
going.
we've kind of been at this for a little while now.
What's it been? 3 weeks?
If you haven't seen us yet, then that means you haven't been on this channel on a Sunday in probably about a month, which is a
So it's
problem.
your fault.
You need to tune back in more.
It's your fault. It's your fault if
Exactly.
you don't know who we are. Basically.
Exactly. Start tuning in on Sundays more.
Now, someone asked earlier about the link saying we are linked to 2 center backs, or we're likely going to sign 2 center backs in the summer. According to LFC Transfer Room, Melissa Reddy originally had the report that came out and said Liverpool are likely to make 2 big moves for center backs in the summer. Steve, I think that makes way more sense.
2 in the summer rather than 1 now, 1 in the summer?
Or just want any signings now, because there have been links saying that we're likely not going to have anyone signing this summer.
Wait, I'm confused. You said that Melissa Reddy just said that we're going to bring in 2. And then next sentence you said we're not going to bring in anyone in the summer?
No. We're not going to. Did I say summer? I meant in January.
Okay.
I'm confusing Steve. Yeah. Right? So, like I said, we've been linked with Upamecano, and then there's our guy, David Alaba, right? David Alaba, and I'll share my screen here so everyone can see, all right? Liverpool Echo is saying that Alaba makes big wage demands known in his Liverpool circle, right? So if we go down and we scroll through this, essentially, all right, he's being reported to ask for a wage of 12 million euros, okay? This would put him higher than Mo Salah. This would put him higher than Virgil van Dijk, okay?
No.
This
Second.
immediately takes him out of the running for me, 100%. Liverpool aren't paying him that. I don't think they will.
He would be the second highest paid player behind Salah, as you can see on the screen.
Oh, I misread that.
Not to nitpick you, because I don't care either way. He's gonna make a lot of money.
He wants a lot of money.
Does that take him out of the running?
I think it does.
I think it does from maybe like a financial perspective, but I wouldn't sit here and say, "Oh, well, he doesn't deserve that," or something to that effect. And I've mentioned this in the past before. This is something that we should all consider. Liverpool's at the point now where their wages across the board are going to go up.
Sure.
Just based on success, and we're the best team in the world.
Right. And that's why
one could argue.
And that's why Thiago coming in, we pay him high wages.
What does he make?
He makes up there. He's among the top players at the club.
No, I don't think you're going to see somebody make like the 350. Like, I don't think we're going to see like an Ozil or something outrageous like that. But giving David Alaba a couple $100,000 a week, like, I think that's reasonable.
You think it's reasonable? 28 years old, bringing him in. Not saying 28 is old, but it is older given our general business model.
I don't think it's like old for like a center back.
Well, technically he's younger than Van Dijk. I think Van Dijk's 29.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly, it's just one of those things. But going back to Upamecano, Steve, is 22 years old, okay? His value is significantly higher. So, if we would pay more of a premium for him, but we would probably pay him less. So, that's the argument there. But then
let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, in the chat.
Upamecano or Alaba? This is going to be interesting.
This is going to be very interesting. We'll probably got people thinking like,
if I'm looking at this from a window perspective, and I always go back to my window analogy, I'm going Alaba.
Okay.
I'm not paying him.
You're not paying him, so you can do whatever you want.
Exactly. Money's not coming out of my pocket.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's so easy to say that when you're not paying the wage bill. And people, Kevin Ball saying that he's come out and said he only wants to go to Spain. Right. And honestly, I've heard that as well. He'll probably end up at Madrid or something like that. Madrid are aging. They probably want to bring this guy in. They obviously have, I don't know if they obviously have the money to pay this guy, but it just seems in the past, and especially because of the pandemic, that Liverpool, their business model, we don't want to pay these guys 200 plus grand a week. But I think your point about the wage is generally going to go up. As you know, we bring in better players and we win more. The club gets more money. There's obviously going to be an increased demand for wages.
Yeah, no, it's just like everything rises. It's like inflation in the economy. Within the club. And Connor makes a good point here. Like, For FSG, it makes more sense to bring in Upamecano because in 4 or 5 years' time, you can sell
100%.
him for a profit. In Alaba, you can't.
Yep.
But I think most would agree, and I'm looking at it in terms of winning trophies now. Alaba gives us a better chance.
Yes, agreed. Winning trophies now. I think the
But
argument.
what else matters? Because in 5 years, Salah, Firmino, Mane, Virgil, they'll be in their low to mid 30s. Who knows if they'll still be around? Who knows
Right.
how good they'll be? We
And this-
don't know. Like, we have an unbelievable roster right now. I don't know what the future holds, but I think we have to capitalize on the talent we have right now because we've never had this much talent.
Well, look, I'm not going to argue with you on that last point. What I will say is look at the future. Okay, Klopp is virtually halfway through, a little over halfway through his tenure here. His contract goes to 2024. He is obviously building a team for the next few years and beyond. Okay, and I remember he said that he would leave Liverpool in a better state than when he came. Okay, he's not going to leave the team with aging players. He's just not that kind of coach. Okay. So he is preparing for the future. We can look at this with signings like Diogo Jota coming in, Minamino coming in, Curtis Jones coming up through the ranks, okay? Signing players like Simikas, okay? Prepping Trent. Trent's going to be here for a long time. Trent's still young. Nico Williams, right? And then you look at players like Reece Williams. Like, he is obviously preparing for the future, and we're still buying young players. Therefore, this goes back to what I was saying. It makes more sense that we would bring in an Upamecano, because Liverpool's business model would be to grow him. And then if he ends up wanting to move on, then we can 100% sell him at a profit because the average contract, 4 or 5 years, kid will be 27, 26, 27 in the prime of his career. You sell him on for a huge profit. Okay.
So you think if you buy him for 50 or 60 million, he's going to be worth a lot more than that in 5 years?
I think so. Let's just say, given that he performs well. So, he could be a complete flop and then his value goes down, right? And
That's a lot for a defender. It's only been a handful that have.
Right. It is a lot for a defender. I agree. I mean, but look, after we bought Van Dijk, that set the precedent. Harry Maguire goes for 85. Like, what is that?
Did you hear that there were links with Maguire? I think they were just BS.
Yes, they're BS.
Yes. I know they're BS, but that gave me a good chuckle. Yeah. And Ramos, oh my goodness.
No, I don't even want to get into the Ramos thing, but and this kind of brings me to Sven Botman as well. Sven Botman, again, is another. I'm not saying they're similar players. I'm just saying they're opposite of Alaba. They're not a seasoned veteran. They're young guys that will grow into the side. And people need to remember, Gomez is still young. Okay. Van Dijk, I know Van Dijk is 29, but Van Dijk seems like a player who can play well into his 30s. So you look at this, you're looking at when they come back, they're obviously going to be in the starting lineup. We still have Matip. We just gave Matip an extension like last year or the year before. Okay. So Matip, unless we sell him on, which I don't think is going to happen, he's going to be here for a while. So you have to look at who we bring in terms of Upamecano. Where's he going to fit into that? Sven Botman, on the other hand, I could see him fitting into that. And to be fair, on the other side of the coin, I could see David Alaba fitting into the side a little bit as well, because he is just at that level where he can immediately fit in. Does that make sense?
Yeah. He could play tomorrow.
He could. I think
he's that experienced. He's that good.
Yeah.
And what'd you say? He was 28?
Alaba, yeah, 28. Not sure when he turns 29, but
he's still got plenty of time left.
Yeah.
Look at Ramos. Ramos is 34, 35, still going strong.
Rowan says, I get what you're saying about building for the future. I agree with that. However, we signed Thiago, 29 years old. Beautiful. This is exactly what I was talking about. Quality, experienced player. So if they sign a player like Alaba, I won't be surprised. Now, Steve, I want to ask you this, okay? And everyone can kind of see this. Thiago was the first player under Klopp where you look at and you're like, that doesn't fit what we've been doing, right? Bringing in these players 22, 23, 24 and entering the prime of their career. Thiago, on the back nine of his prime, still world-class player, doesn't fit what we've been doing. Do you think this is setting the precedents for the future of Liverpool? Are we going to now start bringing in these world-class players who are in their late 20s, paying them top dollar, and then relying on our youth academy and system to bring in the next wave of kids. What are your thoughts?
I think before it was something that was very uncharacteristic of FSG. But when you look at a Thiago, and then let's just say, I don't think Alaba's coming. I would love for him to come, but it would make sense because he played with Thiago, he played with Shaqiri, they have that connection.
Yep.
And we're at the point now where we don't really have to keep building for the future because we're in such a good spot. We can win right now, bring in more players that are ready to help us win today. But then you look at Jota, like he's young.
Exactly.
Minamino, other recent signings that are young. I think there's a mix now. I think it's a bit more balanced than it was before.
Good point.
So I like what we're doing. I don't know what we're going to do this window. I hope we do something. I think everyone can agree that we need a center back. I haven't seen one person say we don't need a center back.
Good God.
If we need to win, if we want to win the league, like I feel like that's a solid first step.
And this kind of brings me into the next thing that I want to say. So Klopp has been known, and FSG, we've been known when they want something, they don't settle. They go out and they get what they want. Okay. So if Klopp, FSG, Pep Linders, Michael Edwards, whoever it is, have their eye on a certain player, they're not going to settle and get someone, even though we may need it at the back, Steve. And it seems like we do need at least one signing just to cover, because God forbid if anyone who's at the back gets injured right now, we're screwed. If
We are in rough shape.
If Fabinho gets injured, we are screwed, Steve.
And Klopp knows that.
That's what blows my mind. Like, there's got to be a smokescreen here. We've got to be bringing someone in.
It's
Just
very
like the report.
possible that he's making these comments to sort of influence prices, maybe?
Well, I mean,
Or just not get everyone's hopes up.
well, he flat out said, though. He's flat out said, no one's coming in this window. But there's also been reports saying there will probably be no departures either. But now we're seeing reports of a loan move for Sepp Vandenberg. We're seeing reports of Origi going out. And my thought is, even if it's a monetary situation, sell Origi, bring in Botman or something, or a player of that price range. I think that
would be somewhat of a clean swap.
Literally a perfect scenario for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then also, I do want to bring this up. This was a report coming out on Twitter as well. Apparently, we made a bid for this young defender this past summer. Okay? And I'll show it here. Hopefully, see if everyone can see it on the screen. Okay, perfect. So we had a £22 million bid rejected for an 18-year-old defender, Nuno Mendes. And apparently now, after that bid is rejected, Leicester, Man United, and Madrid have all attracted interest in him. Okay. So again, just another example of Liverpool coming out of nowhere with these just random reports that we've been trying to bid for these players. Oh, my bad. Cut Steve out of the stream. That we've never heard of. You know what I mean? And it's like, to me, it almost seems like Liverpool are in the position to where all these big names are smokescreens and we're going to bring in a low, like no one's ever heard of him type of player. Like, I don't know anything about this guy, but who knows? He could come in and make a huge difference. You know what I mean? Perfect example.
First I've heard of him.
Exactly. Samikas. Never heard of the guy till we were linked with him. Okay.
I knew of him.
You knew of him because you watched that one game.
I saw him in the Europa League. Let's get to some of these comments here. So, Sergio Ramos is not coming to Liverpool.
No.
Jota still 3 weeks away, roughly, from training.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you right now, the links to Ramos, don't believe it. Okay, Ramos is not coming to LFC. The fact of just in case anyone forgot, Ramos dislocated Salah's shoulder in the Champions League final. Just in case that escaped you,
I don't think anyone's forgotten about that.
We're not bringing Ramos in. He's 34 years old. Okay,
he makes an unreal amount of money.
Right. If we're
why would he leave Real Madrid?
No, I don't know.
Unless they wanted to sell him.
Yeah,
he's been there forever. Why would you just leave and go to a different country for what?
I don't know. We wouldn't pay the wages, like you said.
No,
we wouldn't pay the wages.
He'd get half.
Yeah, if that half. And even if we were going to bring in a player of that age, it would be a Ragnar Klavan or you know it would be someone like that.
The legend.
The legend himself. But you're right. Let's get to some of these chats. Okay. Dara asking thoughts on Minamino. Not good enough for me. I think Minamino had an excellent game last game. I don't know. Steve, what do you think? I thought
A lot of people giving Minamino heat.
Why?
He kind of looks lost out there, in my opinion.
Think so?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I mean, he got an assist when he started against Crystal Palace. He got a goal. Might be a slow start, but he's fine. He's not just going to immediately jump in and be amazing. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I think you think about the assist. It's like, well, what else was there besides that? The assist was neat. Couple touches, tap it back to Genie.
That's right.
Against 18-year-olds, like there's not much to report there.
All right, fair.
The Crystal Palace goal, that was nice. That's
right.
If we're gonna talk about his assist yesterday, then that's a problem. If we're gonna hone in on his assist yesterday and say he's not that bad, he got an assist yesterday or whatever.
Let's bring it back to the center back situation, okay? And Steve, we were talking about this last night. The center back situation is obviously what's under the microscope right now. Liverpool says we need a center back, but I don't think we will get one, which will cost us challenging for the league. Okay? And Steve, you're nodding your head.
Yeah. I said this on our show earlier.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't get a center back, I'm not going to say we won't win the league. I still think we can win the league.
Right.
But we put ourselves in a very, very, very tough spot because we can't count on Matip staying fit. We can't even count on Reece Williams and Nat Phillips staying fit. If they have to play a run of games, there's a chance that they'll pick up a knock here and there too. I don't want to see Hendo back there. Hendo's the engine.
I do not want to see Hendo back there either.
Not at all.
No. And I think I brought this up to you last night. We need Matip healthy for the Champions League if we're going to make a run. I think Fabinho at the back is fine. I like Fabinho at the back. He's done great. Where I get scared is if Matip continues to be injured. When Matip is in there, I'm fine, to be honest, Steve. You know what I mean? Like Matip and Fabinho next to each other, I'm actually fine with that. You know? But if Matip goes out again and we're in the heart of the season, we need to get results every Premier League game. We need to be performing in the Champions League because we're in the knockout stages now. We need Matip healthy. If we have Reece and Nat Phillips, I'm not saying we can't get a job done with them, but it's just risky. And now I feel like it's planted in every Liverpool's mind that someone is bound to get injured, and that sucks. It's so frustrating.
It's part of the gig. It's just the nature of things.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, and a lot of people are saying it in the chat, we can still win the league with the injury situation. All right. In my opinion, it's between us and City. Okay.
Right. And I ran through their next 5 fixtures. So they have 6 fixtures before they play us on February 6th.
Mm-hmm.
The best team they play is Aston Villa, which I still think they'll probably beat. Mind you, they have 2 games in hand as it stands today. And they're heating up. They are the big danger. Like Connor just said in the chat, I don't think Man United's even in the conversation for winning the league. I just think everyone's been so sporadic and inconsistent that they kind of find themselves at the top right now. But big picture, it's City or Liverpool, in my opinion. It's going to be interesting, but we need to make something happen here.
Right. And this is another thing that I want to bring up, and we spoke about it on our show as well. And if you guys haven't already, go over and check out our channel, Nothing But Reds. You can subscribe over there. Really, the biggest loss for me was Diogo Jota. As he was coming into form and as we were becoming unstoppable at the front, he goes down injured. I think people underestimate how significant our offense can be in getting results for us, right? But now that we're not really creating at the front, it makes it seem like our back line or our lack of first team fitness or fit defenders is the reason why we're having these results, a loss to Southampton, a draw, and all that stuff. And I really think it's because our we're at the moment not creating enough at the front. I think we're just stale at the moment.
Yeah, it's important to keep in mind that through all this talk about center halves, center backs, bring someone in, we're bringing someone in, we're not bringing someone in, we haven't played particularly poor at the back.
No, we haven't.
We're not giving up a ton of goals. Like that Ings goal was, first of all, somewhat of a lucky / solid finish. Like, who knows? I don't even know if he was trying to cross it or what. But that's on Trent. That's completely on Trent.
Trent's right leg glitched.
It's a very interesting delivery from Ward-Prowse. He's very good with set pieces. And Trent, we can put that all on Trent. Allison could not have saved that. Allison could not have predicted that sort of ball was going to come in from Ings. Ings did not mean to do that, I don't think. Maybe he did. Who knows?
I think Danny Ings meant to do that.
He was kind of a legend, but
he's a legend.
Know, he may have been just trying to get it across.
It's a good opportunity. I mean, yeah.
But like, I don't think our defense has been bad at all, with the exception of the Villa game.
Right. Maybe you could say Leeds, right? But that was before the injuries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Leeds, we were pretty poor with Leeds. And another thing I want to say is that as we've grown into the season, statistically, our defense has gotten better. And that's what's so crazy to me. So I think we need to realize, people are shouting for Shaq to start against United. Despite Shaq and Thiago having excellent performances, Shaq is not starting against United, or at least I don't think he's going to start against United.
I don't think he should.
No.
The only thing you can really say in terms of the reason that he should was, okay, he's been solid lately, but keep in mind that there was very, very low level competition the other day. Number one. And number two, last time we played United a few years ago when he scored those 2 goals, those were both deflections. He didn't carve up that team. Like, they were deflections.
He still had to create the chances. He came on and he was still incredible.
He was a super sub, and that's what he should be now. He should start to. That's how we should think about him. I can't justify starting him over anyone else in this game against United. Who? Salah?
Dude, can you imagine the uproar? Not only from Salah, but the fans. I honestly think if Klopp starts Shaq over a healthy Salah, good God, there's no chance.
No, it's not going to happen.
And I just don't understand people. I mean, I get it. Shaq's back. He looks good when he plays, but he's not. He should not start over Salah. If anything, maybe you put him in the midfield. If anything, you don't start him over Salah, Firmino, or Mane.
I just hope Matip's back so he can play with Fabinho, and then we have Hendo, Gini, Thiago in midfield, and then our front 3. I'm comfortable. I'm going to that game very, very confident.
Yeah. So let me get your opinion. Who do you think we start against United?
Well, it depends. Is Matip going to be back?
Yeah, so according to reports, let's just assume Matip will be available for the Man United match.
Okay. Matip, Fabinho, Trent, Robbo, Allison, Hendo, Gini, Thiago midfield, and then standard front 3. I think it's a no-brainer. All
right. Now, Matip's not available. Who do you go with at the back?
Same thing, and then Nat Phillips.
This is interesting. And as we wrap up the show, I want to get people's thoughts. Was that my watch? Yo, my watch. That's so weird. I hate how Siri just comes up on the watch and sometimes scares the hell out of me. I want to get everyone's thoughts on who you would start at the back, Nat Phillips or Reece Williams. If Matip isn't available, the reports are saying that he will be available. Okay. So Kevin's saying Matip won't be back. He's as injury prone. So I did see reports from James Pierce saying that he should be available by that time. Dante saying Nat Phillips. All right. And Steve, what's your justification for Nat Phillips over Reece Williams? Oh, wow. Everyone is saying Phillips.
He's better.
That surprises me.
He's better in my opinion.
Okay.
He's very good in the air. Not that Reece isn't. But
Reece is incredible.
This is going to be a gritty game. This is a very, very intense rivalry. I think Nat Phillips, his bravery, his courage, he has more experience. I think he's a better fit to go up against this United team, which we know it's going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's going to be a gritty game. Honestly, God, it's tough because I think Reece Williams is great, But this is where I disagreed with Craig a little bit. Craig doesn't think Nat Phillips is Premier League ready, and I completely understand where he's coming from. 100% understand where he's coming from. But at the same time, Nat Phillips in the games that he's played, he's been excellent, Steve. Like, honestly.
Reese?
Both. I'm talking about Nat Phillips, but Reese as well.
Yeah, both of them haven't really put a foot wrong until the other day.
Yeah, and, Reese, the argument that he's slow, right? It's a tough decision. Obviously, I think if Matip's healthy, he goes with Matip. But so you're going with Nat Phillips. It's tough. It's so tough, dude.
I would rather see Nat Phillips just because of the physicality factor, and he is just as good in the air, if not better, than Reese Williams. He has more experience.
Yeah, and honestly,
big games.
It's probably like an 80-20 split at the moment in the chat, saying that Nat Phillips, which surprises me a little bit. But to be fair, it'll be interesting to see what's going on. So as we wrap it up, guys, put your score predictions for the match in the chat. Next week, I believe we'll be doing a team news reaction up here in place of the talk show. So be on the lookout for that. And Steve, what are you looking forward to, man, at the end of this window?
A new center back, a shiny new toy at center back.
Shiny new toy.
Anyone
that's not injury prone.
Even someone that's injury prone, just bring in a body. We need a body.
Good God, we do need a body. It would just be horrible if anyone gets injured for the rest of the year. Let's go back to the chat. We'll read it off. Connor going 2-1. Liverpool 3-0 United from Gouda. He's obviously a United fan. 3-0 Rashford hat trick incoming. Got 3-1 from Liz Golden. Liverpool 3 United 1. 2-0 United. 2-1 Liverpool. A lot of interesting scores here, man.
I think this is like United's like Champions League final type game. They're top of the league, right?
Yeah.
They're playing against Liverpool next week. It's like the biggest game of the year for them.
Well, first off, it's the biggest game of the year.
They're not going to be there in the end, is what I'm saying. So this is a very, very important game for them.
It's an important game for us. It's a derby.
It's like a final for them.
You keep saying for them. It's big for both of us.
It's not as big for us.
I think it's just as big for us.
We got a lot more. I think we have a bigger game on February 6th against City.
It's going to be interesting, guys. Just want to thank everyone for tuning into the Nothing But Reds agenda. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, go over and check out Nothing But Reds and subscribe to the channel. We do talk shows like this every Sunday. And we also have pre-recorded videos as well, if that's what floats your boat. Quick shout out to everyone in the chat, all the channel members, everyone commenting their thoughts. We really appreciate it. Steve, anything to add?
No, everybody enjoy the week.
Absolutely. Enjoy the week. The anticipation for the match, and we'll see everyone next Sunday, Reds. Until then, take care.